What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So here we are at the end of the year. It is time for a year-end roundup. I'm going to tell you pretty much the best products of 2021 in my opinion. This is just stuff that has impressed me the most. Now, considering I started this channel just for fun, I've kicked out about a video a week this year, it's quite a lot. So there's a lot of stuff to cover. I know last year I did just one product, but I reviewed way more stuff this year. So we're going to have a few. Before I jump into that, I do want to say, I guess, kind of like, just thank you for those of you that have rolled with me this year. And from the beginning, really, it's been fun, you know what I mean? This channel is like just been kind of a cool way to kind of link up with you guys online and like chat and vibe and just kind of like share thoughts and ideas about this hobby that we're also passionate about. Some of y'all get a little too passionate, you know what I mean, in the comments, but that's another story. So let's just get into it. The first product I'm going to tell you about is the subwoofer that was the most well-rounded. So in 2021, the most well-rounded subwoofer I have reviewed is the SVS Micro 3000. The size, it's small. The aesthetics are quite good. The wife acceptance factor is high. The feature set is amazing. The bass is strong and powerful, and it still extends plenty low, all while just hardly taking up any space. All around, great performer. It's not going to be dominant in any single category. It can't be. It's small, but it does everything a subwoofer should do, and it does it well. So I say that is the most well-rounded subwoofer I have heard all year. Let's jump over and talk about speakers. We're just going to cut to the chase. I'm going to tell you just the best speaker I reviewed all year. I've reviewed about 10 different speakers this year. And the best one, some of you guys might not be too surprised if you've been with me for a while, Bucard S400 Mark II, hands down, best speaker I've reviewed all year. Absolutely love it. What they were able to accomplish with the Mark II variation was phenomenal. I think it's got a sound a lot of people are going to love. The slight complaints some people had about the original S400 have all been addressed and cleaned up. They're more dynamic at lower volumes. They're easier to drive. The bass has been cleaned up, tightened up with better texture and tone. The mid-range is a little bit tonally richer with better imaging and vocal performance. The top end is more detailed, yet still refined. It's just a huge win. Bucard S400 Mark II, best bookshelf speaker I've reviewed all year. Now, I do want to give you some honorable mentions because there was a couple that I really did like. The Focal Cora 806 and Aria 906. Love those speakers a lot. I like them a lot more at the European price. Here in America, we pay quite a bit for them. The Cora 806 is like $1,000 and the Aria 906 is double that, $2,000. And they're about 40% cheaper for you European customers. So if you're in the EU and you have access to those prices, those are fantastic speakers. Another honorable mention I want to give is to the KEF LS50 Meta. The cabinet on that thing was insane. Like, if I was going to give an award for like the best cabinet of 2021, the LS50 Meta was crazy. Like, I'm pretty sure if you drop that thing on like your floor, you're going to damage your floor before you damage the cabinet. You know what I mean? Anyhow, I digress. That was also a great speaker. But the best, there can only be one, and it is the Bucard S400 Mark II. Let's jump back to subwoofers and talk about the best affordable subwoofer. This is for the lower budget category. The minute I heard this subwoofer, I knew right away this was going to be my pick for best affordable subwoofer of 2021. It just impressed me so much in the first 5 minutes, and it continued to impress me during the entire review period, and that is the RSL Speedwoofer 10S. For $400 or so, you simply cannot do better. That thing is so good. They give you a solid cabinet, a driver that is like so overbuilt for the price category. I mean, guys, I'm not exaggerating when I say there are subwoofers that are $800, $900, or $1,000 that don't have a driver as well built as the RSL Speedwoofer 10S's driver. If you don't believe me, go and watch that video. I show some pictures of it in that video. It's just a great subwoofer. RSL Speedwoofer 10S, if you've got $400, you can't do better in a subwoofer for $400. It's fantastic. Now, again, like I do think it's important to point out, when I say it's the best at this category, that's what I mean, right? I'm not going to sit here and pretend and play the game and say, oh, you know, it outperforms stuff 3 times its price. And like, that's not true. Like, I like kind of get annoyed when I hear people say that kind of stuff, because for the most part, I believe you get what you pay for. RSL Speedwoofer 10S, fantastic for $400. You cannot do better. Let's jump around here. Is it time for just the best, outright just the best period subwoofer all year? I think it's time. Yeah, it's time. So for just the best overall subwoofer all year that I have reviewed, it's actually a tie for first place. We have the Rhythmic FVX12 and the REL T9X, and these are tied for a reason. Both subwoofers have fantastic bass quality, fidelity, nuanced detail, tonal richness, texture, a muscular sound, fantastic speed and transients, fantastic dynamics. These subwoofers, sound quality, beautiful. I absolutely love them. The reason I picked both is because, one, they both have excellent sound quality, and I thought, you know, if I picked just the REL T9X, some people might complain about the price, or they might say, oh, it's just a 10-inch, I want something larger that can play louder. Okay, well, now we have the Rhythmic FVX12 also as an option, also with excellent sound. But if I only picked the Rhythmic FVX12 as the, you know, the best subwoofer for 2021, I think some people might say, gee, Nemo, it's like a little too big for my room. I want something smaller. Like, you know, what else can I get? Well, there's the REL T9X. So I think these two subwoofers, it's great because they both have, despite having wildly different designs, you know, the REL T9X is a sealed 10-inch with a 10-inch passive radiator. The Rhythmic FVX12 is a ported 12-inch subwoofer, but their sound quality and fidelity is out of this world. And they have two totally different looks. So, you know, if you want something that's going to look absolutely amazing in your room, you need something with that super high Wi-Fi acceptance factor, and that means you're gonna give up a little bit of maximum extension in SPL because, you know, you're getting something smaller. You get the REL T9X. But if you're in a situation where you're like, no, I can handle something bigger in my room, I can accommodate that. My wife knows the sound system, that's my deal, that's what makes me happy, and she knows better than to argue with me on that. I want as much bass as I can have within this space that I can fit, and I can fit the FVX12. Go for it. It's absolutely fantastic. So those are the two best subwoofers I reviewed all year, and I'm sorry if someone wanted just one, you know what I'm saying, but they're both that good. It's just that simple. Yeah, I don't give a shit. I'll tell you straight up. They're both fucking awesome. I fucking love both of them, guys. Sorry for swearing. I should have given a little warning. You know, I'll put a warning on the screen. Some of you guys got kids. One person told me in the comments, like, hey, bro, like, when you swear, like, I got my kid right there. You know what I mean? So anyhow, I digress. Let's talk about some losers. What products just disappointed this year? Because there were some, believe it or not. Dynaudio EMIT M10 or EMIT, whatever the hell you want to call it. Big disappointment for me in the speaker category. It's $800, so it's not quite, you know, like entry-level consumer, but it's got this like V-curve with like bloated sloppy bass, which is like entry-level consumer sound. So it's like the design intention and the price simply don't match. It's been discontinued and replaced with a new model that supposedly addresses my complaints. And I'm not saying they you know, modified the speaker based on my feedback. They probably don't even know who the fuck I am. But from what I've been told by other people is that the speaker is more in line, the new one, with the Dynaudio house sound, which is a little bit more linear, a little bit smoother in the top end and such. Maybe I'll check it out in 2022, who knows. Another speaker that kind of disappointed was the Revel Concerta 2 M16. This speaker was technically very good, and that's it. It was not engaging for me at all. It was absolutely emotionless. It was very, you know, analytical. Technically, it did all the things a technically good speaker should do. But, you know, unless you're connecting it to like tube equipment, I think, or something like very tonally rich, it's just a technical, analytical, dry, and emotionless presentation with quite a bit of detail, with a good mid-range, with clean and tight bass, but unengaging, uninspiring. Anyhow. Another speaker that disappointed me this year, and I think I was actually a little bit too hard on it in the review, was the Dolly Oberon 1. And the reason I think I was a little bit hard on it is you know, it was the top end was just, it was over the top on that speaker. The mid-range was quite good, and the bass was phenomenal, actually. There was a lot of things I liked about that speaker. I was very critical of it, but I gave it a lot of praise where it deserved it. Where I wished I would have done things differently, though, is, ooh, almost sent my laptop. Where I wish I would have said things differently is the top end. I would have added to that video like, hey, while the top end is way over the top for me and just is assaulting the hell out of my ears with my treated room, some people's rooms do dull down the sound a lot. They got a super thick carpet, maybe they got a lot of furniture that just absorbs the sound, and those people with a really sharp sounding speaker like the Oberon one, in a room like that, might sound fairly neutral. So I think it actually does have its place. Anyhow, I digress. I think that's it for speakers that let me down. Let's talk about subwoofers that let me down, because there was one that was just I'm gonna swear here, okay? If you've got kids, hide them. Steaming hot pile of fucking shit. That's the Velodyne DB12. If I was giving an award for just the biggest fucking disappointment of 2021, it's the Velodyne DB12. Absolute fucking garbage. Can't believe they made it. Some of you guys might be like, hey, you know, you already reviewed it. You said it was a piece of shit. Like, why are you mentioning it again? Because I'm that upset about it. I'm that upset about it that they kind of trashed the Velodyne name because it's under new ownership. And it could have been cool. You know what I mean? It could have been something cool. There could have been a lot of nostalgia for a lot of us if they'd have just given us something decent for the money. But yeah, it's priced wildly high. And it does not perform in its price category at all. It doesn't even perform at half its price, honestly. So yeah, run from the hills from that thing. There weren't any other subwoofers that disappointed, believe it or not. I reviewed a lot, you know what I mean? I reviewed the REL T5i, T5X, T7X, T9X, the SVS 1000 Pro 3000 Micro, 2 different Arendelle units, 3 different Rhythmic units. I reviewed a JBL, the RSL, Emotiva RS11, and the KEF KC62. That thing was fantastic also. Love that thing. Still have mine. I use it upstairs actually with my, on top of my media console because it's so small. So that brings the year-end wrap-up to an end, okay? But I still want to tell you guys a couple of things. In 2022, the review format's going to change. I really liked the way the Aries video went. And by the way, if you're seeing the Pontus up here and the Bucart A500, you're like, hey, how come you haven't mentioned those for, you know, products of the year? Well, I just got them. You know, the Pontus only landed a couple days ago. The A500 just, you know, I'm still like listening to these things. I haven't reviewed them yet. So these will maybe be discussed in 2022's year-end roundup. But for 2022, the review format is going to follow more the style of the Aries 2, where we kind of took an aggregate of other reviews and I told you what other people said. I chimed in with my own 2 cents. I think I'm going to add to that format a little bit of my own review as well. And on top of that, look for areas where reviewers disagreed and kind of chime in on that and like what my opinion is there. And my goal is really to kind of do a review style where like, you might not watch, you know, I think most of you guys, you maybe subscribe to like 1, 2, 3, or 4 audio reviewers and that's it. I don't think most people subscribe to more than 4 audio reviewers. And with this new format I'm planning on doing, I think it'll be pretty cool because, you know, say you don't follow this smaller channel over here, well, you'll still get to hear what they say about this product, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, maybe you do follow all the guys that I do an aggregate on and it's just like cool for you. Either way, I think it'll be more helpful for the consumer. I think it'll give a lot more context. And I'll be honest, for me, it was just a lot of fun making the Aries 2 video in that style. So we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna see what happens. Now, occasionally I get products that simply have not been reviewed. A good example of this is the, it's a speaker that I filmed the video for it. I have not released it yet. It is the Quad S1. I can't do an Aries 2 style video like where I do an aggregate review on that because no one on YouTube's reviewed it. Same with the, I think the Yamo C912 subwoofer. I think Aaron's Audio Corner reviewed it, but outside of him, I don't think anyone's really reviewed it. So every now and then when I get a product in for review, if no one's really reviewed it or just maybe 1 or 2, we're gonna jump back and do like the traditional review format where I just, you know, take you through the specs and standout features. I tell you what it sounds like, we do some comparisons and then that's the video. But for anything that's been reviewed by more than 3 or 4 people, we're going to do an aggregate style review, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think I've talked enough in this video, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you're still with me, thank you. And until next time, guys, later.